everyone, it's Laurie from Cook Scrap Craft. It's that time again, my scrapbook process video for the Friday Shimelle live that happened on Friday, April 25th. So there's only going to be one more of her lives for the month of April. So there's only going to be one other challenge process video from myself this month, but there's also going to be an off the board next week, and that's also going to be Shimelle inspired. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel so these videos pop up in your subscriptions list. And if you haven't hit subscribe, do so. And give this video a thumbs up. I know it's early in the video. You're probably like, I don't know if I like it yet or not. Oh, just go ahead and like it. Nah, just go ahead and do it. So this video, this one actually kind of is a scrap backwards type of process, because I had a bunch of, my desk is really messy, and I had a bunch of stuff out on it. And I saw these enamel dots, and I said, those are actually the same color as some of these American Crafts foam phrases that I have. And I said, well, those have to go together on a layout. And then I started picking out a couple other pattern papers and embellishments that I thought could also go together, and it ended up adding in a couple other colors. And then I said, well, I don't know if I'm going to use this for a Shimelle thing or not. The pieces just kind of sat on my desk for a few days. And then when I watched Shimelle's Friday live, I said, oh, you know what? I think I can use these for this process video. So that's what I ended up doing. I added in a background paper that is pattern paper from Shimelle, and it's got orange, blue, pink, and peachy hearts on it with some other elements in those same colors. And so because this was a kind of a busy pattern, I wanted to keep all of my layering elements around the photo to be a little bit more solid color, a little more single color or close to it, at least nothing that has a white background. So that was the idea for that. Shimelle's live used a piece of pattern paper. I don't know who it was from, but it already had a bunch of pre-printed elements on it. And then she just added in a few extra things, a few extra details. I did not have that same paper. I did not have anything like it in my stash because I don't like a lot of the pre-printed paper designs. That to me, I feel like it's supposed to make it easier to sit down and scrapbook. But for me, it almost makes it harder. And I'm the kind of scrapbooker who enjoys the process of fitting everything on a page. I mean, yes, I'll do pocket pages for convenience and ease from time to time. And so you'd think that the idea of a pre-printed page where you really just have to put down photos and maybe add just like a few embellishments would be ideal. But I kind of just don't like that. So, and obviously, like I said, I didn't have anything like it in my stash, and that's why. So I decided to kind of take what the pre-printed design was and try to make it my own. So there were big, large floral elements on this page. And then there was a lot of what looked like paper layering going on behind where you would put the photos. And then Shimelle added even more paper layering herself. So that's the idea that I've got going on here. So I took two photos. They were printed at 4x6. One was vertical and one was horizontal. And I think in my last process video, I talked about how it's pretty easy to take a horizontal photo and cut it down to 3x4 vertical. And so that's what I did here. So one of them, well, they're both cut down to 3x4, and then they're both matted on the same piece of basil cardstock, which, if you are wondering, and because I still have it out, it's called, oh, I can't even read what it's called. What is the color? Oh, it's called Fiji. I think I've used this color before. I recognize that name. So I chose that color because it matches sort of the teals that are going on in the Shimelle pattern paper. Okay, so then I also have some scrap paper that I'm layering up behind, or I'm going to layer up behind the photo. And those floral pieces that I'm working with right now, those are from a Simple Stories collection, the floral bits from the Crafties Thing collection. And I liked them because they had some similar colors to the Shimelle pattern paper. And I wanted to make sure I had colors that were going to match, remember, the enamel dots and the American Crafts foam pieces, foam embellishments that really started this whole entire layout. So I know I want there to be a big floral element at the top left of the photo, and then maybe a smaller one at the bottom right of the photo spread. But I also need to get all the layering pieces behind this all before I can really start sticking anything down. So I have a scrap piece of some blue chevron patterned American Crafts paper. I have some yellow background, white floral patterned paper that was a scrap. I don't recall the manufacturer name. I have some peachy, solid peachy, which I think is from maybe a 49 in Market. And then I have some other, like a peachy orange, what's the plaid pattern? And that is, I don't remember who the manufacturer is for that. And then there was a cut apart piece that was from a Simple Stories collection, and it has like bottle caps on it. And some of the, those were the same kind of colors as the background paper and everything else. So I just threw that in there as well. And then I did stick the B side to the peachy paper, which I'm putting up at the top. That actually it's a similar pattern, but it's not all solid color. And so I took an extra spare piece of that and I just flipped it over and used that side to kind of go behind the bottle cap and the plaid. You can see it's going to stick out a little bit at the bottom, and that just kind of extends. I wanted both sides of the layering to be kind of equal. Not exactly equal, but at least, extend from top to bottom in the same zone. I didn't want one side to look out of place, or I didn't want one side to be too heavy and then the other side to be too light. If I was doing maybe a top bottom, or if I was, doing the diagonal, that might be okay. But since these are both sides and I've got two photos and it's like, I just wanted each side to be equal. That was just the thought process that was going in my mind. But anyway, that's how I was thinking. You could, of course, do whatever you want. Like I said, you could do a heavier top and a smaller bottom. You could do a heavier top left and a smaller bottom right. Layer it however you want. It really comes down to what you have in your scrap stash and what you want to use. So I also added, because I had it, a lemon border sticker, and I cut it down because I didn't need the whole piece. And so part of that's going to get covered up by the bottom floral bit that I'm going to put down there. What else can I tell you about this layout? So the photos are 2 photos taken at Sky Zone. If you were watching other process videos that I've done, I did a layout where my daughter was playing basketball at Sky Zone. So originally I was going to keep all 4 of those photos together, and I decided not to do that just because Shimelle doesn't normally scrapbook 4 photos at a time. So I did break them up, but these are just like general playing at Sky Zone, whereas the other 2 were basketball. And so I figured it made sense to group them into this dual layout. And this is the one that actually says like, hey, we went to Sky Zone. Or it will once I do the journaling. So I have 2 floral pieces up there on that top left. There's one kind of in the background, and then the foreground one I popped up on some foam tape. And that foam tape I got from scrapbook.com, and actually comes in really long, thin strips. But, foam squares, foam dots, whatever you prefer is totally fine. And I am inking the edges of pretty much everything except for the embellishments. I mean, you could ink the edges of the floral pieces, but there's just so many nooks and crannies. It's really hard to get in there with the ink pad. I mean, I guess it would be easier if I was using an ink dauber. I think that's the correct name. I have some from scrapbook.com. I just very rarely use them, and it's just a lot easier for me to just use the ink pad itself than breaking out a dauber and then gotta like clean the dauber. And if you look at my scrap room, you'll know that I prefer scrapbooking over cleaning up after myself. So that's that. But let me know in the comments below. Do you just go right on top, right with the ink pad, or do you have ink daubers? I know a lot of people who are really into stamping and stencils. You probably have ink daubers that go, or ink dauber, the toppers that go with each color of the ink pad you have. And that's like, you guys must be so organized. I am not that. I am not that at all. I do have a drawer full of ink pads, and it's kind of just a crazy mess. I should really go through it and throw out the ones that are not inky anymore. But again, that's like an organization thing. That's just not as much fun as actually scrapbooking stuff. So anyway, I think I've got all the layers put together. And so there I'm cutting the lemon border sticker. And, you know, I didn't start off with thinking I was going to add yellows to this, but just because some of the embellishments ended up having yellow in them and the background pattern paper had that color, then I was able to add all those other colors. And I wasn't just stuck with the teals, the light blue, and the greens from the leftover enamel dots that I had. Because that's, you know, again, the enamel dots and the American Crafts stickers were what really inspired this layout. And I haven't even gotten to that point yet. But I will, I promise I will. The adhesive that I'm using for these, aside from the foam tape, I have some Recollections double-sided adhesive tape. It's just called double-sided tape, and I got that at Michael's. I prefer, I mean, this has actually not been so bad. I do prefer the adhesive squares, mainly because they're less gluey. I get the repositionable ones, but they were all out at Michael's and Joann's, obviously, because everything is going away from Joann's. So I just stuck with this adhesive tape because it was cheaper than buying the refills for those mini tape guns, what are they called? It's not an ATG. The ATG is huge and big, and that's super gluey too. I don't like ATGs, but they have like smaller handheld ones. Anyway, the double-sided tape has actually been really good, and I like that it's easy to tear. You can tear it into whatever size you need. It is a little gluey, so if you're putting something down and you make a mistake, it's going to rip the paper when you try to pull it up. So just keep that in mind if that's something that you do. It's something I do a lot. For the embellishments, I've got some going on. Obviously, aside from the flowers, I've got a little sticker that says sweet. That's from the Simple Stories flea market sticker book. And then there's a patterned heart. That's from the American Crafts foam sticker sheet that I have. And then I'm adding in some enamel dots up at the top next to it, just a little cluster. Underneath the florals, the popped up floral, there's a Shimelle camera sticker, a little thing that says you are a ray of sunshine, and then another one of those American Crafts puffy stickers that says hello there. And then I'm adding another cluster of 3 enamel dots. Normally when I use enamel dots, I like to do a big size, a medium size, and a small size, but I was running way low on the enamel dots, so I could not be picky with how I arrange them. So the one cluster at the top is a big, medium, and small, and they're all the same color. The one on the left-hand side is big, small, small, and they're each a different color. I'm not going to let it bother me. The title for this, I did the big word remember from the American Crafts sticker sheet. So that's nice and puffy. It sticks up really nicely. And then there's a tiny sticker from a Vicky Booten sticker sheet that I had, and it says today. So technically the title is going to be Remember Today. And then I'm adding in another little puffy heart from the American Crafts thing, a little sticker from a Simple Stories summer themed sticker sheet that says a melon memories. It's a little peachy, so I thought that would work really nicely with the colors in this. And then on my desk, I did find another 2 sheets of enamel dots. They're all a little bit smaller. They're not Simple Stories, so they're different, a different type of design, or I guess different type of like style that they put on the sheet, if that makes any sense. But I had 3 different colors, and so I have 2 that are like a medium size and 1 that's a tiny size. And again, I'm just gonna let it go. The journaling is going to take place up at the top above the photos. There's a banner or a border strip of yellow pattern paper that's going across the peachy paper. And that's where I'm going to end up doing my journaling. I've also added in a little cut apart from a mini Shimelle paper pad that says today is the best day ever. I just thought that would look nice. Again, something else to layer on top of that right-hand side. And then I'm also going to add in 2 more stickers. They're both going to be arrows, and they're both from is it the Shimelle sticker sheet or the Vicky Booten one? Let me check. Nope, they're both from the Vicky Booten sticker sheet, which is her Bold and Bright collection. And that I got at Joann. So I just thought the arrows would be nice because they're going to be both pointing in the direction of the photos and kind of drawing in that focus, drawing in your eye to focus on what's on the photos. And that's really it for this one. I didn't add in any splatters or anything because obviously the background is already pretty full with patterns. I was actually really pleased with the way this turned out, and I hope that you enjoyed watching this video and that you liked this layout as well. Here are the close-up pictures so you can see things in a little more detail. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment down below telling me your favorite summer memory from summers past, and be sure to follow me on social media as well. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!